Yeah, I don't know anything about racing. This is true. You're right. You're in the wrong show. Yeah. You're watching the wrong show if you want to hear like super engineer stuff.
Honorable mention, Alpine, because hello, French Revolution.
I can tell you this: the French Revolution is not very happy after this past weekend. So,
well, we had a coup here, and Moni's gone, so for a week.
Oh man. Anyways, what's going on? As you can see, we are Moni less today, but yeah, excited to be on. It was Miami week, man, and I have a confession to make, Vish, and I know some of you may not be very happy with this, like delay edits may not be very happy with this, but you can't blame me either. Yeah, this is tough to say. It really is tough to say, but I fell asleep during the race, and I didn't wake up till lap 47.
So you saw the overtake for the win, right? So
yeah, and I might have dozed back off. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
So it's kind of.
I honestly really did fall asleep.
No, I mean it is interesting that like this year's actually it's like the Red Bull's as dominant as last year, except Checo's actually competing, and it's so unbelievably boring.
It really is, man.
These races are not interesting. Like they shortened up these DRS zones, and like there's not as much overtaking, and it's just not a good time. I mean, this is the second race in a row where you're like, man, I need Latifi here to hit someone. Like, what are we doing?
Something's got to happen, right? Unbelievable, man. Anyways, you know, as we all knew, the Red Bulls come out on top again. Another seemed like a disappointing showing by Ferrari this weekend. Creeping in early, brother. It's been creeping in.
So 2 more days, man. 2 more days. Enjoy.
Yeah, you know, this is what happens.
Enjoy your 30s, man. They're almost gone.
I'm like the New York Knicks over here complaining of the heat. You know what I mean? I was inside, but it was just really hot outside. And it got to me when I got inside. I just fell asleep, man. You know? So I played the New York Knicks card there for that one. But
I mean, it was not interesting. I mean, let's be real. Like I did stay awake, but it wasn't like I was like, "Ooh, maybe something will happen." I was like, "This is a parade."
I think we had what? We had maybe one. Well, I mean, was it even a crash? I mean, we had. I think we had a crash.
Well, Leclerc made qualifying interesting.
Yeah, shocker there.
But then the race itself, like,
yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, we could talk about if Red Bull actually gave Checo the best chance to win because it looks like they didn't.
No.
But other than that,
I think that was the most interesting part of it all, right? Was the back and forth with Checo and.
Well, it wasn't a back and forth because, first of all, like, I mean, Checo's got to understand he's got to just do it on his own. That team is not going to help him.
Correct.
Because, I mean, they're telling him to manage his tires the first 10 laps and like keep a 2 or 3 second gap to Alonso, which he can obviously do easily.
Right. Right.
He's not racing Alonso. He's racing Max. Like, that's the only other car. There's no, so like, he should have been pushing that whole time. And he wasn't. And Max closed the gap up, and Max was pushing the entire time to the point that Max was basically on him. And then they had to pit, and you know, he had lost his advantage. Now, Max was by far, we talked about like how in Azerbaijan Checo was just faster that weekend. Max was way faster. Yeah. But Checo still should have been able to win from first with Max in ninth, but they had him managing the car at the beginning. And then during the race, they talked about how like they weren't telling him Max's speeds, but Max was getting like a stream of information on what he needed to hit to patch Checo. I mean, this is the team that Checo's in, and he's got to realize that. And he should have just been pushing from the beginning. But he didn't. But also, to your point, it turns out, I mean, it put him in a tough position because it turns out the right strategy, and this is why Hamilton ended up, you know, climbing way up in the last few laps. The right strategy was actually to start on hards.
Right.
But Checo couldn't really do that because everyone around him was on mediums, and he would just gotten passed by a bunch of cars at the beginning.
Right.
Exactly what Fernie said. Yeah. So the you know, it worked out for Max that he was on the right tire, what turned out to be the right tire strategy. But Checo really couldn't use that strategy because you're not going to start on hards and just like get no grip off the start line and get passed by like 4 cars when you're on pole. So
right.
It just happened to not work out.
Yeah, tough situation for.
Yeah, but I feel like
around there.
I don't think they gave him.
And they're not going to.
They're not going to. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway. They aren't.
We kind of spoke about that, right? You know, he's gonna have to ignore.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do it on his own. But I mean, you don't. The thing is, it's so hard to do that because you have no idea. Like, you don't really know the tire life, and if they're telling you to conserve, like, I mean, it's hard. Like, how was he gonna just push and shred the tires in 5 laps if they're telling him the truth? And then it turns out the mediums were fine for a lot of laps. Alonso ran a long time on those mediums.
Yeah, he did.
So he could have easily pushed for longer, and he didn't.
Well, I think what happened was he nursed them. You know, he managed them for too long.
No, he said he lost the race in the first 10 laps because he was managing his tires, which is exactly what happened.
Yep.
So 2020 hindsight though, but Max was on it, and Max kind of got screwed, which is why he didn't like mess up the start 9th. He was he was on his way to pole with Leclerc.
Yeah, it was going to be both.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's a different race at that point. So, especially that, like you said, he was. I mean, it could have been a different race for Checo also. So who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because if they were both up near the front, like if Max had actually been further up, they would have had to put him on the mediums. They wouldn't have started him on the hards from like the front row or something.
Sure.
So it's interesting if that would have worked out as well for him. But he was the dominant driver the whole weekend.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's why he won.
So predictions really quick. Moni's prediction was terrible. Checo, Leclerc, and Max. My prediction was equally as terrible. Max, Leclerc, and Hamilton.
Wait, you got one of them.
I got one. Yeah.
Hey, around here, that's called winning.
You got 2 of them just in the wrong order. You had Checo and Max and Leclerc. So all of us kind of.
Yeah. Well, what happened to Ferrari?
Yeah. Yeah. No race, peso, no bueno, nothing. Yeah, they were just.
I mean, you texted me this during the part of the race where you were awake, but like Leclerc couldn't get around Magnussen, and then first he got passed by him, and then he couldn't. I was like, dude, you're in a Ferrari, but you know, after the race, actually, you could see him immediately. Like him and Sainz were talking. They were just like, "This car, man." They're apparently, and I think I put this in the running order, but it's so inconsistent that like going into corners, you don't know how it's going to perform. It's not just like, oh, it's bad in slow speed or it's bad in high speed. It's like one lap, it's fine, and the next lap, like there's no grip, and it's like they can't drive the thing.
They don't feel comfortable in that car right now, and like you said, I mean, I know Sainz mentioned it, Leclerc mentioned it as well, and you know, I don't know if that's a matter of strategy per se at this point. I think it's just the
I don't think there's anything they can do there. The car is just is not there. I will say, you know, Sainz could not speed in the pit lane. I mean, I feel like, you know,
that's a mistake.
Going into the pit lane too fast and slamming on his brakes, he should have started singing "Smooth Operator" for the irony, because that's pretty much the opposite of that.
Yeah, right. The minute that happened, he should have just been, oh, oops, smooth operator.
I mean, I wonder how long. He shouldn't have left McLaren. It would have been better for both of them. But anyway, that whole thing is. I mean, it's a part of it. Remember, they overhauled the management team. That's still going on. So it's gonna to Fernie's point. They are, I think, slow motion blowing the car up. They're moving through phases of that. So you're gonna see those inconsistencies. It still is, for whatever reason, much better on one lap than.
Yeah, that boggles my mind. I mean, they're so fast on that one flying lap to and then all of a sudden, and look, Leclerc's been known. He tries to push the envelope, right?
Which might explain some of it. Like, he's on edge, so when he puts it together, he gets the boost. But then, what happened here happens sometimes too.
There's that 20%, 30% of the time that he does that, and he ends up spinning out or something. So.
But the other thing is what has happened, because the Red Bull is so dominant on DRS and with the straights, like, qualifying doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we were doing shout to Prize Picks, our sponsor, use the offer code 5, that's FIVE, but we were debating what to predict, and the max over under was at 18, and 18 is what you get for second place and fastest lap. And I was like, can we do a push? Because he's starting 9th. I think Checo can win, but like Max is going to blow past those other 7 cars really easily and be in second, and in doing so probably get the fastest lap, and then that's 18 points. But he ended up winning because, again, he was on the right strategy, it turns out. But like, there's not even close to a competition. So qualifying is even used to be exciting. It's kind of boring. It's like, oh, they're on pole, or it doesn't matter. It's just like first or second. They're going to finish first or second unless a Red Bull breaks. Right. I mean, that's just.
Quite frankly, they're not breaking anytime soon.
No, but Max will continue to complain about my upshifts. Dude, shut up.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's Max for you, right? He's gonna figure out a way to complain.
I mean, every race he's like, the upshifts are sticking. The upshifts. Everyone's like, what are you talking about, man?
Are they sticking? Where are they sticking? Are they sticking the P1 or P2? Which one are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here. Oh, nice move by Ben. Unfortunately, look, I'm like Vish right now with all these games. When Dallas plays or when women's basketball plays, you're glued to the TV when the Cowboys.
By the way,
so
while I was waiting, so by the way, Fernie, Mr. Santana was not asleep. He did have technical difficulties, which I tweeted out. There's something wrong with his internet, but in the time I was waiting for you, the women got a huge recruit commit for 24, top 25 player in the country.
Very nice. It looks like that run to the Elite Eight.
Really, yeah, when you get on the bucket show, you get that boost.
What do you know, man? When you win a few games here and there, you make it deep in the tournament. Look what happens, right?
Yeah. But anyway, well, watch buckets next week. We'll have a breakdown on that. I think it's on Tuesday next week. But yeah, then I mean, and actually, like Leclerc ends up behind Hamilton, who actually it was almost the same thing that happened to Checo. Just a different example of it. Hamilton messed up qualifying and started 13th. So he started him on the hards, which turned out to be the right strategy. He went long on those and had
he drove
fresh. Yeah, but he had the fresh mediums at the end and was just picking everyone off.
Yeah.
So that was just the right strategy. But I was disappointed that Leclerc kind of got stepped behind Magnussen. I'm like, you can't be doing that to Haas, dude.
That's wild to me, man. I can't believe that. I mean, I know at the end he was able to get him and so did Alpine and
yeah, no, it ended up being
but I mean, that's just it's not a good race. It wasn't a good race for Carlos either to have George Russell pass him.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out that his penalty didn't really matter, and actually it looks like, again, everyone thought medium, quick stint, go to the hards. That is the right way to win. It turns out it was the complete opposite. He pitted really early off of those mediums to undercut Alonso, which he did, except the mediums lasted so long it didn't actually hold up. It got him out in front of Alonso, but he was a sitting duck with Alonso on fresher tires, and it was just everyone misread the strategy. But Ferrari went for an undercut, and that's why.
Well, there was also the issue of rain, right? That washed off a lot of that rubber on their shoes.
Yeah, but they went for the undercut, which normally is the right strategy. In this case, those tires probably had another 15 laps of life in them. And so he ended up going really long on the hards. It got passed by everyone that pitted way later. And then it turns out his 5-second penalty didn't end up mattering.
Yeah.
But
that was pretty cool, by the way. What Taps?
Oh yeah, I know that when he kind of went up the inside when Magnussen and Leclerc were battling.
That was pretty.
And
awesome.
there were multiple times that Leclerc passed Magnussen and then got passed back immediately. It's like I don't know.
What's going on with that, man? They need a.
I mean, I like to Frank's point. They are blowing the car up piece by piece. They're blowing up the leadership team too.
Yeah, that they are too. Yep.
So I mean, they're taking the action you need. It's just going to take a while to get back.
Is it safe to say that the driver of the day was Max? Or is it close with Hamilton as well?
It shouldn't be Hamilton, in my opinion, because I mean, he got up to 6th from 13th.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give him credit for screwing up qualifying.
Yeah.
It's got to be Max. Because Max didn't even screw his qualifying up. Leclerc screwed it up. So
he screwed it up for him, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So because Hamilton did not get out of Q2, and that's why he was so far back, and then you're going to make a bunch of passes. Can we talk about the bottom of the grid? And there's something problematic with the American driver, and I am concerned here. I was joking a little bit last week about him, but I think
he's not. Where is he?
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys. Let me do a little screen share here. I screen for our viewer. I screenshot some of these for the notes, but they don't show. You can't fit the whole the whole grid in here. But there he is down there. He and De Vries the only drivers without points. He has not been close. In fact, I joked last week, like, I was doing the half marathon, which is 13.1 miles. I joked like Logan Sargent's not gonna get that far down the track before screwing up, and he was in the pits on like the first lap because he hit something. He's like, yeah, I messed my race up again. And it's just, I mean, I worry because Americans have a stigma in Formula One, and when you frankly throw someone in the car because they're American, it's not going to help the next American driver get an opportunity. Right. And this should be Colton Herta, and it's not. And Colton Herta is a much more seasoned. I'm not even going to say Logan Sargent's not good. I don't think he was ready yet, and he got to see because he does F2, and you get more super license points for that. Right. And it doesn't look ready to drive, although Nick De Vries is like as old as we are, Jazz, and he doesn't look ready to drive. So I don't know. He was also.
I will tell you this, though. I mean, if we maybe not so far down, but would you say the biggest surprise so far, pleasant surprise, has been Yuki Tsunoda? I mean, we're talking about all 5 races this year. He's been in 11th or 10th, which is, it's something to say with that AlphaTauri machine. It's not.
It's a bad car.
Yeah, and he's been doing all right.
Yeah, he's got points at least because, again, the only 2 that don't are pretty obviously the 2 worst drivers on the grid right now. And yeah, the car isn't good, but like, I mean, I think De Vries is actually worse. Like, first lap just runs into Norris, ruins his race. Not that the McLaren was going anywhere, but it's, I don't think he can drive. I mean, he literally subbed in that one race last year, did okay, gonna drive out of it, and like, the man had been like a reserve driver for like 10 years, and no one thought to put him in the car. They just shoved him into an AlphaTauri because, hey, look at that one race he did, and it's just, I think this will be his only year for Formula One. Logan Sargent's younger, so he might get more opportunity.
He might get another year. I mean, it is a Williams also, so they might give him another shot.
Yeah, and Fernie talked about this. This is true as well, right?
He was bad.
I mean, he messed up qualifying to get out Q1. So yeah, that is
what did he start?
Unbelievable. He started, I think, 16th or 17th or whatever, and then he ended up, at some point getting closer to because he didn't pit, so he went long. He got up to 12th, but I mean, that car definitely. I mean, that was top 5 quality on that car, and he, kind of screwed that up.
Not good. Not good. Oh, that's definitely a travel. Wow. That was a travel by what's his name, Julius Randle. Anyways,
it's halftime, so now you can do the show. So
that was definitely a travel, though. Oh my God! Come on, he took 3 steps. What is that? Here, the drop step, and then the 2 steps back. That's a travel, man. Oh boy, I don't know if you saw the shot or not. But
I'm actually I'm watching our show, so.
Oh. Yeah, it was that was definitely a travel. Anyways, all right, so let's kind of get back into my bad. But now that it's halftime.
Those are driver standings.
Overall impact, I mean, it's still.
I mean, there's your driver standings right here. I got them on the screen. I mean, Checo's still within touching distance. He's gonna need some DNFs here. He's gonna need some DNFs. That was the way through.
Back. Yeah.
I mean, 14 points is very doable, but he's not. He's not fighting an even fight. I mean, two things. One, Max is a better driver, so all things balancing, Max will beat him in every race.
Right.
So he needs a little luck there, but also the team is just not going to help him. So. And Alonso opened up a larger lead here for third now.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah,
that race still between like 3 and 5 or 6 is still. I mean,
even to 7 because you got
all he needs Leclerc is a couple podiums and he's right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you figure if there's kind of some that even though the Red Bulls are basically going to get 1-2 every time, the after that there's going to be some switching around, but and actually in the constructors it's even closer because Lance Stroll sucks. So
yeah, he's
this is tight.
He's finally that crappy wind, not that second wind. I think he's going south now. So
yeah, but there's the 2 through 4 is tight. So that's probably the entertainment for the season.
By the way, we've got a week break before they head back to Italy for Imola, and that'll be the next race. So we'll definitely cover that next week in case you guys.
Next week we'll talk offline. I don't think I can do Wednesday, so.
Yeah, next week might be tough. So we'll figure it out one way or the other. No worries there. Let's talk a little bit about some news going around. First and foremost, I know we spoke a little bit about Ferrari, but let's talk about Mercedes first. As far as, what their change. It looks like they're going to have some changes at Imola, which I expect most teams, to really start coming out with their upgrades now and their changes because they're back in Europe and now they don't have to do this back and forth for a little bit. What's that W14 going to look like? What's going on?
It's not going to look like the W14 anymore. Apparently, they're changing out like roughly half the car, so they're giving up the no side pods concept. This is all rumors, of course. We'll see what they roll out there, but apparently, it's a radical, just complete change to the design concept.
Gotcha.
So that is.
Let's see if it helps, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is very possible that it gets worse before it gets better. Because they're going to roll something new out there and, they have to come to terms with it and figure it out. But I think they're overall hoping for more consistency so that they can move forward. But yeah, it's new suspension, bodywork, and, quote, other things.
We'll see what I mean. They need to make.
I don't think there's any way forward with the current car concept. So I think that's why they're just chucking it up. But it's going to bring some. Yeah. Hopefully something interesting, either hopefully there'll be a step forward or frankly a step back, but something interesting might happen with them in the next race at least. If they're down there with the McLarens. I don't think anyone's happy with the current car. They went for a radical design that I guess worked in the computers but does not work in reality, and they've been saying basically all year they had to throw it out, and this is I think throwing out of that. The whole no side pods part of it just didn't work.
No, it didn't. Let's so we spoke a little bit about Ferrari's inconsistency.
Sorry, just real quick for his question. No, he's gonna retire from Mercedes at some point. I think that's.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go anywhere else after that.
Come back to McLaren and finish last.
We spoke a little bit about Ferrari's inconsistencies already about what they're gonna do there, and I just think that. There's going to be more changes to come. So
it's kind of interesting though because they have two. You talked earlier about Leclerc and how he's on like how Leclerc is on edge and he pushes
Oh, right,
and sometimes
right.
he makes a mistake.
Right.
And Sainz is almost he is. I mean, I was making fun of him, but he is very smooth with the car and kind of more under control. And this car doesn't work for either of them.
No.
So like what the because you think like maybe it'll hit someone's sweet spot or at least like favor one, but they seem to be all over the place. I think just simply as getting consistency might help them.
Yeah, Fern, I think you're right, man. They did swing and miss with some new hires. I don't know if the sort is working out as
well. I think
I don't know if it's not really him. It's more the engineering and the people who are working on the car. I think are the ones having more.
Well, I think this is part of the overhaul. It's going to be a multi-year process to get new people in there, and you see some of the teams that are advancing kind of, frankly, hire new people. Like I don't know how many people are following Formula One, like maybe 10 plus years ago, but you see Martin Whitmarsh kicking around the Austin Martin area, and he's like one of their chief executives now. He was running McLaren when Hamilton won the championship there. Like this is, sometimes you gotta just get better people in there.
There's going to be changes for sure.
Yeah, and that's part of I know it's being reported as a lot of, oh, this person's leaving, that person's leaving.
Right.
I don't know that that's all voluntary, man. I think some of this is like you got to go. And they need to bring in new people. And that's going to take some time and then to have them impact the car too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are Red Bull guys, though. Like, I mean, you got to – it's Red Bull. Like, why are they I know Ferrari cares a lot more name brand and all that, but you know what you're walking into there at this point.
Of course.
So.
I mean, why would you leave? I mean, that type of situation there, so – the Red Bull Checo situation, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, we already covered that.
They don't care about him winning. I mean, they care, but they're really not gonna.
He's gonna need some DNFs.
Yeah, they're not gonna prioritize him at all, even if he is winning the race and Max is further back and he's making they're just not gonna help him out. So he's gonna have to do it on his own. But really, I think this was interesting because you hear some fans have issues with this, right? The purists, I guess the F1 purists, if you want to call that. And then you got the newer fans who are a little more open to this. But this whole introduction thing with LL Cool J, man, they did it like the Americans do it. And
but this is my problem.
I don't know if I have a big issue with it.
I have no issue with it. I have an issue with everyone blaming us. Man, fuck you. Seriously. You guys are all trying to make money. You're doing stupid crap. They do it at all the races. They have a big party in London and all of this crap, even though the race isn't even there.
Right.
And you're going to come here. Every time they do something stupid now, which they've been doing for like several years to try and spice it up.
Right.
It's always like, well, it's because of the Americans. What are you talking about? We get blamed for everything.
I'm sick of it. It's a lazy excuse, man. It's
sick of it.
It really
sick
is.
of it. It's the Americans' fault.
I liked it. I didn't think it was bad.
I didn't care one way or another.
Yeah.
But like, what are we talking about? Why is it always, as if someone is going to sit through, quite frankly, a boring ass 2-hour Formula One race because LL Cool J is doing something for like 5 minutes before the race. Like, what are we talking about?
Listen, and look, Norris and Alonso and these people who have issues with it, like I guess Norris said that they do enough for the fans already. I mean, do you really? Alonso
they do a lot of fan outreach and stuff, but yeah.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I understand. I guess the thought process is some people are like, well, this kind of gets them away from their game and they don't get focused and all that stuff. Well, I think that's a bunch of bullshit because they do player intros in every other sport, and it doesn't affect their play at all. So it shouldn't affect yours either. Get your head out of your ass. Focus on the race one way or the other.
You saw what Hamilton said about that, right?
Hamilton loves it, right?
No, he was like, yeah, they're trying stuff out, whatever. It was entertaining. And then they asked, did it affect your race prep? He's like, I was ready for this race the second Azerbaijan ended. I was ready last Sunday. So,
that's it.
That's how you win. That's how you win 7 championships.
Right.
Like
these other should be.
Yeah.
Alonso said Miami shouldn't get any special treatment. It's not special treatment. They put this together. If somebody else wants to do it, let them do it.
Yeah,
but they're not going to because they don't give a shit. Yeah, we are different. It's a spectate. It's a spectacle here.
I don't even know that's to appeal to the American audience because honestly, no one here gives a crap. Like, there's all this stuff that's been invented about us.
Yeah.
Like,
that I mean, actually, it's half of it is not even.
do we care about intros? Like, what are we talking about?
Who cares? They do it for TV and they do it.
Yeah,
for
exactly. They do it for a spectacle because that's what they're trying to build the show, which is why they throw red flags left and right now and all this other stuff to try and spice the race up. It's nothing to do with us.
Not our fault. The damn race was boring and there was no red flags, no BS.
It's not our fault they let Red Bull cheat to develop that car.
Yeah, maybe you should kind of focus on that and quit bitching about driver intros for the love of God. Stupid. As we mentioned, there will be a race next, not this weekend, but the following in Imola. So we'll see what we do. We may be pressed for time for next week, but we'll figure it out. We'll make sure we put it out there on Twitter and
yeah, there might not be a show. I'm not sure. I'm gonna be in Miami. Then I fly back here on Wednesday night. I have stuff to do. That's why.
Yeah.
Just that day, and then Thursday we're at the Light, man. That's a huge series.
This is true.
So, and then Friday night we're also at the Light. So,
are you here for that for Duke?
Yeah. I told you, man. We're putting press passes in.
Okay. All right.
Melissa's gonna go too. We might get a hoodie girl signing at the game. Yeah, we'll talk next week on that. But yeah, I'm literally coming back here for a day because I got work stuff on Wednesday. That's why I can't do the show. And then I'm going back to Miami on Thursday morning. So
we'll get it going.
What the hell?
Right at the end.
No, but also like I mentioned her name and
then it popped up. I know that's crazy.
What the hell? There's no way she's ever watched this show before.
Maybe she was there and she.
Is there some kind of like what kind of superpower was that?
I don't know. That was kind of creepy.
I don't think we've ever mentioned her name on this show, and then I don't know if she'd ever watches this show, so I don't know what this is. But anyway.
Here she is. We're gonna talk baseball now. Canes baseball is coming up.
Yeah, that's on another stream.
Yeah, Fernie, if you want to talk some Canes baseball, man, make sure you tune in. We'll be on in about maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or so.
A few minutes. Yep.
Check us out there. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys.